Hello everyone. This tutorial video is about XSL or Extensible Stylesheet Language. It will also be discussed here how to process XML data using XSL so that we can come up with something like this, wherein XML data will be processed and displayed in a tabular format using HTML. But before that, if you are not yet subscribed in this channel, please do subscribe. Hit also the notification bell so that you will be updated and notified whenever I have a new video. And so, what is an XSL? Basically, it is an acronym which stands for Extensible Stylesheet Language. So, it is a language. So, it is similar to CSS or the cascading style sheet of HTML, wherein XSL is simply a file that describes how to display an XML document of a given type. So, basically, whenever you have an XML document, it will be something like this, wherein when you present this to anyone who doesn't have an IT background or doesn't know about HTML, they would not understand what this means or what it is all about. But if you will present it to them, which is something like this, perhaps they will be given an understanding, a better understanding of what you're trying to present to them or show to them. So basically, when you read or when you see a data presented in a manner something like this, so most likely it will be simpler to understand what this means or what this data is all about or what this data means. So for instance here, if you have a column here, employee number, and then you have here the employee name, and the rest will be employee name, and so as with the employee address or email address. So it will be easy for them to understand what this means or what this stands for. Okay, so basically we can use XSL to process XML document or the data inside an XML document. Okay, so that we can come up or we can present in a more meaningful presentation. Okay, so how do we create an XSL file? So let's start off by doing that. And so I have an example here already. So for instance, this is your XSL file or the XSL file, sorry. So all you need to do is to save it as .xsl. Okay, so whenever you want to save it, you should save it as .xsl file. Okay, so if you are using a Notepad++, so we have to select first all types, and then you have to put you have to place the XML name that you, the XSL name that you want, and then make sure the extension or the file name extension is .xsl. So simple as that. So you just have to click the save. Okay, so I already saved this. So that's how XSL file are created. You will know that you are correct in saving it because you will have something like this here. So you have an XSL file. The type of file will be something like this. So when you check in your folder where the XSL file is saved, you should see in the column type XSL style sheet. Otherwise, if it is not like this, then you did not save it as .xsl file. So plain and simple, it is only like that. Okay. Now, the second thing is, if this is your XML to be processed using XSL, you have to include this second line here, which means you're telling the XML document that it will be processed using an XSL file by specifying the XSL file name here. So basically, it's something like that. Okay, so you have to start it with this statements here, or this tag here, and then href, you will be using the attribute href and then the name of your XSL file. So over to this right here, on the right part of the screen here, that is the XSL file. The name of this is example1.xsl. Okay, again, we will be producing something like this. So we will be having another file, and that is the this one here, the XSL file. We will be producing this one. We will be presenting our XML document with something like this. So it's an HTML format presentation. Okay, so we'll process this and we'll come up with this. Okay, or to come up with this. So we need an HTML tags, or we need HTML tags. Okay, so it's a combination of XSL tags and HTML tags. That is what we're trying to do here. Okay, so after you have this, you make sure that you have this on the second line of your XML document. Then you have just to save it. And now let us see. Let's create the XSL file. So it is similar to the XML document. So this is the XML declaration. You have to put it also in the XSL file. Second will be the XSL root element. You have to use it. XSL style sheet. That's the second thing. Okay, so here basically you're telling which version you will be using. So it's version 1. And the XSL namespace. And so this URI should always be something like this. And it can never be changed. Wrong spelling here will produce an error, or will not display our the desired output will not be displayed. So it's all capital XSL, and then the transform you have to use capital T. So exactly the casing will be something like this. Second part will be, or the second line or the third line will be the XSL template, which basically you're telling that here match equal slash. Simply you're telling that you will be starting here in the root element of your XML document. So processing will start from here, or simply the path will start from the root element of your XML document. Okay, so that's about it for the template. Now, within this template here, you have to produce now your, or you have to put now your, or place your HTML tags. And so, again, this is what we want to have. Something like this. We will process our XML document in a tabular format, something like this. HTML tabular format. So we'll be using HTML table here. Okay. So we will produce, or we will place the data of element, or element ENO, the data and the attribute in one column. Another column will be the employee name, which is ename here in our XML document. And then all the email address of the record or of this data will be here in this column. The salary and the benefit will have its own column. And let's have also some computation by adding salary and benefit. That will be the last column, net salary. And that is our goal. So let's start it. So first, I need to have an HTML. I have to use an HTML. So there you go. So it will be like this. Okay, so the next will be the body. Okay, so it will be like this. And then we need table. There we go. So we have to have make sure that we have a border equal to 1. Okay, so something like this. Okay, let's have some headers. So something like this here: employee number, employee name. And before that, let's have some table header. Okay, these are the column headers. So let's have some table header. So basically, we will just say here at the top of the table, we will just simply say employee records, employee records. And then on the next line will be the table. So I will be using BR here, so that on the next line will be a table. And since we need column headers similar to this, and so we need already a row here. So I will be putting here TR. There you go. And I will just be using PH. Okay. So, or simply let's make it like this. Let's call it employee number. All right. That will be the first column. The second column, let's call it the employee name. I will just be copying and pasting it, and we'll just change the header, column header. Let's call it email address. Okay. And then we have something like salary over here. And then the benefit. So we already have the header. That's one row. Now, there's nothing else we will do except to get now the data. And so to get the data, we need a loop, or something like a loop statement, wherein we will start getting the data from here, right, and up to here, or until the end of the file. Okay, so basically that's the reason why we will be using a for loop or a loop statement. So XSL has a loop statement, which is the XSL for each. Okay, so we have to type XSL for each. Then select equal company /mprec. So what do you mean by this? It simply means that in the select here, we are trying to specify now the path. Okay, we have to specify the path so that XSL will know where to get ENO, because we have to start getting the ENO, the data of ENO, and then ename, email address, salary, and benefit. So you have to specify the path going here to the ENO. So to get ENO, you have to go through company, mprec, and then we can get ENO. So basically the path to get the ENO is through company and then mprec. So that's the reason why. So this is the path. Alright, so we have to specify that. Okay, so since we have specified now the path for the for each, we can now directly get the data of ENO, ename, and the rest of the data. So to do that, okay, again, I am using a for each so that it will automatically get all the mprec, right, until all will be processed. So we will start from here, then here. So we only have something like 2 records, something like that, or set of data, and that is where we will finish here. No? I mean, this is where we will finish it, the second one. So if you have the third, all of those will be processed. And so that's the reason why we are using the for each, to get all the set of records or data using the mprec element name. So to get now the ENO, okay, I need to create first a tr. I need to put first a tr because I need to create a row, after which I need to use td, right? And then we will specify now here, or we will now place here the ENO data. So let's have first the ENO data, which is 0001. All right, so to do that, to get that data, so we have to use here XSL value of. So every time you would like to get the value of an XML or an XML element, so you will be using XSL value of. So every time you would like to get also the attribute value, like this, dep ID and ID here, you will also be using XSL value of. And so XSL value dash of, okay, and then select equal ENO. Okay, so don't forget to have the slash before the greater than sign here. This is an example of an NT element, okay, and the namespace is always XSL. So every time you will use XSL tags or elements, you have to use the namespace XSL first, and then followed by colon, and then the name of the element, which is value of. So this is an element. This is an element of an the XSL. Okay, so basically we have now here the ENO. If you wish to test this now, it's also possible. Let us test it. Okay, so to test it, you have to open your browser. For instance, let us use Firefox. Okay, and then, all right, so open your folder where you save your XSL file. Okay, so also your XML should be in that folder as well to make it simple. So this time, all we need to do is to drag our XML file here in our browser. This is one way of testing your XSL file. You have to use your XML, not the XSL file. Okay, there you go. So we have now here we have 2 rows, 001 and 002, as you can see. 001, and then here we have 002. Okay, why the XML file is the one we are going to open here in the browser? It is because in your XML document, you have mentioned there that the file that will process this XML document will be the XSL, or this XSL file. Okay, so still the XML is the one that you will need to test. You have to drag, or you have to open in the browser, and then automatically, because of this statement here, because of this line, it will find on the same directory or folder this file, example1.xsl, and so that's your file that will process this XML document here. Okay, so it will be something like that. So it's only very easy. Again, we have learned now XSL for each and XSL value of. XSL for each means you're going to loop. You're going to go into the circle until all this XML element will be processed. Okay, so the path is mprec. So to go to the MPREC, we need the company. So we have here company and then MPREC. That's the meaning of that. And then we have XSL value of. Okay, the purpose of this is to get the value of an XML data. It can also be used to get the value of an attribute, XML element, or the attribute of an XML element. Okay, so let's continue. Let us also display the ID and the department ID or the depth ID of this element ENO on the same column. So therefore, I will just put this one down here and this one here down here, and I will make it on the next line. I will display it on the next line. So I need a BR. I will just copy all this so that it will be a little bit faster, and I'll be pasting it here. And since we are going to display depth ID or the ID, okay, so let's have first the depth ID. So all I need to do is to put slash here, ENO. That means the attribute is for the ENO, or it is an attribute of ENO. So I will say ENO slash at depth ID. It will be like this. Now on the next line, right? So it will be like this. So I'll just copy this one and I'll paste it here. This time it will be the ID. So let us say I'm going to press Ctrl S. Alright, let's go to the browser here. So this is the browser now here. Okay, so I will be processing it now. I'm going to refresh. I'm just going to refresh it. There's no need to open it. So you just refresh it so that those changes that you made here will be processed now. I mean, will take effect now here. So let's see. Refresh, and so you have there 100, then here 201. If you wish to put a header or something like a label to it before the data, so you can do so. Let's say depth ID, let's say department ID, and then this one is, let's call it employee ID, so something like that. Okay, so I'm going to save it again. Let's see that one, refresh, and so that's it. It's there, right? So basically, it's the same with the employee number. It's very easy now to get the employee number. So to do that, again, I need a TD here. I will just need the TD here. Okay, so slash TD, and I need something like this. I'll just copy this so that it will be a little bit faster, and I will just change this to employee name like this. So let's see if it is there. So I'm just going to refresh, and you see employee name Juan de la Cruz, and the other one is Michelangelo. It's right over here. Okay, so it will be easy now for the others. However, the email is a little bit different, because as you can see here in our XML document, there is email 1 and email 2, which are under or inside an element email add. Alright, it is not the same as ENO and ename and salary and benefit. All these are children of the MPREC. But email 1 and email 2 and email 3 are children of email add. Okay, so actually this is not a problem. All you need to do is to specify again the path. So to get email 1 and email 2, you have to specify the path, which is email add. So to do that, let's have it here. Okay, so I'll be doing something like this. Value of, all right, and then email add. You have to specify first the path slash and then email 1. So that's how it is. And then for the email 2, I will just be again placing a BR here, There you go. And then you just have to say email 2. If there is email 3, then I just have to say something like this, email 3. Okay. You will be wondering why in the second record here, or in the second set of mprec here, you have email 3, whereas here in the first set of mprec, or the first record here, doesn't have an email 3. Okay, and then you have here in your XSL, you have email 3. How's that? There's no problem with that. If there is no email 3 for the first record or set of mprec, that will just be fine. Nothing will be displayed, and it will not create an error message. Alright, so it will not produce an error message. It will not display an error message. That will just be fine. Alright, so let us test this. If it is showing us the email address, I'm going to refresh, and there you go. So you have here abc@yahoo, yayy@yahoo for the first record, or for the first set of mprec. And then on the second set of mprec, we have here 3 email. So okay, so that's how it is. Okay, so you just have to specify again the path. Okay, so as simple as that in XSL. So to produce now, let's continue. To produce now the salary, or to display now the salary and benefit, it is just similar with ename. I will just copy this, and I will just be pasting it there. Also another one. So the first one will be for the salary, and the other one will be the benefit. I'll be saving it, and let's see if it is going to come out. There you go. So all the data now are presented. As simple as this. You just have to use XSL value dash off to get the data, either element data or attribute data. Okay. Now let's add another column. Let's add another column, and it's called, let's say, let's call it as total salary. So this column will be the sum of salary and benefit. So that will be the total column. Okay, so basically this one here, these two here. So salary and benefit, these two here. In your XML, will be this one. So we will just add the two. To do that, again, we will just be using something like this. So I will be saying salary, again, salary plus benefit, as simple as this. So select equal salary plus benefit, salary plus benefit. Let us see if it is going to add it. Go to refresh, and there you go. So 2,500 plus 150, that would be 2,650. Okay, so as simple as this, we were able to compute the two elements, numeric elements. The data are numeric element value. Okay, and we were able to display also the other data, or all the data of the XML document. If you wish to, also, by the way, if you wish to format your values to, let's say here, the salary and benefit, we will format them, or we will format this data with 3 decimals, and to separate thousands, we will use comma. That is possible. So for instance, for the salary, we will be using the XSL function format number. No? So let us see here. So format dash number. Okay, open parenthesis. There will be 2 parameters. The first parameter will be the data that you wish to format, or the variable that you wish to format, comma. Okay. The second parameter will be the formatting. So you just have to use single quote. So single quote. Alright. And then you should have to you have to close it. Okay, like I said, the second parameter will be the formatting. So let us use pound sign for numbers. Let's say it will be like this. All right. So the .000 will be the decimal numbers. Let's say we will place 3 decimal numbers. Okay, let us test first. Let's see how it goes. I'm going to test it now. Refresh. There you go. So it was like this now. All right. So the same also for the benefit. So for the benefit, it will be something like this. Format dash number, open parenthesis. That will be the variable. That's the first parameter. Second parameter will be the formatting. All right. Okay, so enclose in double quotes. Single quotes. To be single quote only because you're using double quotes. Okay, for the select attribute right here. You're using already double quotes here. So inside will be single quotes. So single pound sign. All right. Let's also do it for the salary plus benefit. So I'll be putting something like this. Open parenthesis, comma, single quote, close parenthesis, and then the formatting will be inside here. Alright, so let us test. I'm going to save now. Control S. Let's see here. I'm going to refresh. There you go. So as simple as this. Nothing difficult. It's all plain and simple. We just use 2 things to display all the data or to process all the data of an XML document and display them in an HTML format. Okay, using XSL. So I just use here for each and XSL value off. Okay. So I hope you have learned in this topic, XSL or the Extensible Stylesheet Language. Okay. Watch out for the next video about the continuation of this topic. I will be discussing about some functions, all right, about this XSL, and see you on that video. Thank you very much for watching this video.